All right, so if you're a manager who's been tasked with building or scaling up an enterprise drone program, then this one's for you. We're going to go way beyond the hype and give you a real operational playbook. Everything from picking the right gear to dealing with some pretty serious security risks you might not even know about. So let's just jump right in with a real-world problem, okay? Picture this. You're running a massive mine, a huge construction site, something like that, and you've got to know how much stuff you have. Now, traditionally, measuring a pile that big is slow, it's expensive, and frankly, it can be pretty dangerous. But what if you could do it in a fraction of the time with incredible accuracy just by flying a drone over it? That's the game changer we're talking about here. So how does this magic actually work? Well, it comes down to a technology called photogrammetry. It's really the science of taking hundreds, maybe even thousands of overlapping photos from a drone, and then using some really smart software to stitch them all together into a precise, measurable 3D model. Now, this isn't just some cool-looking picture. We're talking about quantifiable data that's way faster and more cost-effective than old-school ground surveying.
Okay, so you've done the flight, you've processed the data. What do you actually get out of it? Well, you get some incredibly valuable intelligence. You get what are called orthomosaics. You can think of them as perfectly flat, map-ready aerial images with no distortion. You get precise volumetrics, so you know exactly how much material you have, and you get these incredibly detailed 3D models, basically digital twins of your assets that your team can inspect from anywhere in the world. Now, before you can even think about getting those amazing outputs, you've got a huge decision to make right at the start. And that is, what kind of sensor, what kind of eyes are you going to put on your drone? The payload you choose really dictates everything about the kind of data you can collect.
Your first and probably most common option is a standard RGB camera. Honestly, just think of it like the really good camera on your smartphone but strapped to a drone. It's the cheapest way to get great visual detail and build those 3D maps. But, and it's a big but, it's a passive sensor, which means it's pretty much useless in bad lighting or in areas with deep shadows.
Okay, next up we have thermal cameras, and these are totally different. They don't see light, they see heat. This makes them an unbelievable tool for predictive maintenance. Now here's the key for any manager. Your thermal camera has to be radiometric. That's a fancy word that means it doesn't just show you hot and cold spots, it records actual temperature values, giving you hard data you can use to spot failing equipment or leaks before they turn into a total disaster. And then we get to the big one, LiDAR. This is an active sensor. It's literally shooting out laser pulses and measuring how they bounce back. The result? Insane precision, down to 2 centimeters. It's the only tool that can see through trees and bushes to map the actual ground underneath. But of course, all that power comes at a price. It's the most expensive option, and it'll drain your drone's battery like nothing else.
So this chart here really lays it all out, doesn't it? It's all about trade-offs. There's no single best sensor for everything. You see, RGB, super cheap, gets the job done for visual stuff, but its accuracy is low, and it's useless without good light. Then you've got LiDAR on the other end. An absolute beast for accuracy, works in any light, but boy, is it going to cost you in both money and power. The right tool really depends on the job.
Okay, so you've got your drone, you've picked the perfect sensor, and you've captured all this great data. Awesome, but you're only halfway there. Now you've got to decide how are you going to turn all that raw data into the 3D models and maps you actually need. And that comes down to a really critical software decision. When it comes to the software, you've basically got 3 main players on the field. You've got Pix4D, which is the gold standard for accuracy and control, perfect for serious survey work. Then there's DroneDeploy, which is all about speed and collaboration in the cloud, and it works with pretty much any drone you throw at it. And then you have DJI Terra. It's super fast, but, and this is a big but, it only works with DJI drones. And this is so important because your software choice isn't just a technical decision, it literally defines how your whole team operates. If you go with a cloud-based tool like DroneDeploy, your people in the field can just focus on flying, and all the heavy lifting happens back at the office. But if you choose an offline tool like Pix4D, you get way more control, but it means you need more highly trained people out on site.
And that leads us right into a huge strategic risk. I mean, listen to this quote. If you build your entire program around a hardware-specific platform like DJI Terra, you might be fast today, but you're painting yourself into a corner. What happens in 2 years when a competitor releases a drone with a sensor you absolutely need? You'd have to rip out and replace your entire system. That's what we call vendor lock-in.
All right, we've talked a lot about the cool tech, but as any manager knows, with cool new tech comes, well, new risks. And some of these are ones you probably haven't even thought about yet. So let's talk about the security side of things.
So you've got the obvious stuff, right? You're putting all these super sensitive 3D models of your critical infrastructure in the cloud. Yeah, that's a big, juicy target for hackers. And then there's the fact that your drone's manufacturer often has superuser access to the drone for updates. That's basically a potential backdoor into your network. These are serious, but they're things we kind of know how to think about.
But what about a risk you're probably not thinking about at all? Let me ask you this. What if your drone program is publicly broadcasting sensitive information about your operations for anyone to see right now by law? This is all because of something called the FAA's Remote ID rule. As of March 2024, it's mandatory. You can just think of it like a digital license plate for every drone in the sky. It's meant for safety and security so authorities can see who's flying what. But, and here is the absolute kicker, there's a huge flaw in this system, especially for businesses. The system doesn't just broadcast where the drone is, it also publicly broadcasts the precise location of the person flying it. And the worst part, this broadcast is completely public. Anyone with a simple smartphone app can see this data. So a rule that was meant to make things safer has just opened up this massive loophole for corporate spying. I mean, just think about the implications. Your competition doesn't need to be some super hacker anymore. They can literally just park down the street, open an app, and watch exactly where and when you are inspecting your most sensitive assets or surveying a potential new site. It is an immediate and really significant leak of your operational intelligence. Okay, so after all that, the technology, the software choices, the pretty scary security risks, what do you actually do about it? As a manager, what's the playbook here? What are the key actions you need to take? Here are 4 things you need to do right now. First, mandate quality control. For any data that's going to be used for big decisions, you have to require ground control points. This ensures your data is accurate. Second, prioritize software that is hardware agnostic. This is a strategic move that prevents that vendor lock-in we talked about and future-proofs your entire program. Third, implement a zero-trust policy with your hardware vendors. Contractually limit their ability to remotely access your drones and your data. And finally, you have to actively mitigate that remote ID risk. Plan your flights so that the operator is always located somewhere secure and non-obvious. Make that broadcast data as useless as possible to anyone who might be watching. So, we'll leave you with this one final thought. Your entire drone program is designed to give you this complete, unprecedented view of your most critical assets. The question you have to ask yourself now is, who else has a complete view of your operations?